Taylor Huston, who writes, "Hey guys, love the show so much." Well, thank you so much. Thanks for all that you do. I have a question involving the movie Serenity. With Joss Whedon having become more popular than ever due to his work on the Avengers movies, do you think that Serenity came out at the wrong time? A part of me feels that most of the reason why Serenity failed at the box office is because Whedon wasn't as well known back then as he is today. And that if the movie had been released after the time with the Avengers, then it could have gotten more attention and maybe even made a sequel possible. What are your thoughts on this? Thanks a lot for the question, Taylor. I gotta say, there's two parts to the answer, really. In hindsight, after Joss Whedon had done Avengers, would that have gotten a Serenity movie then a little bit more attention? It's possible, but remember, Joss Whedon also did do another movie after Avengers called Much Ado About Nothing. And nobody saw it. Now, granted, it wasn't a wide release film. Right. It was not a wide release film, but it was out there and it was available to be seen. And nobody saw it. It is very, very rare. I think Serenity was one of those films. First of all, the show it was based on, Firefly, got pulled because nobody was watching it. Tragedy, because that show is really good. I love Firefly. And I love Serenity. But it got taken off the air because nobody watched it, and partially that's Fox's fault because they moved things around, and they just look up online about how Fox really screwed up that show. Anyway,
aired it out of order.
Yeah, all that kind of nonsense. But at the same time, because it wasn't really a highly viewed show, you don't wait 7 years if you're going to make a Serenity movie based on that show that got canceled after one season. You don't wait 7 years for it. I don't think it would have been wise to wait that long to have Joss Whedon. And let's be honest. I bet if I asked 9 out of 10 people walking out of Jurassic World, if I could shoot back in time a couple months and canvas all these people coming out of Jurassic World, I bet 9 out of 10 could not tell you who the director was. It didn't matter that they didn't know who Colin Trevorrow was. Right. They went to see Jurassic World. Unless your name is Nolan or Spielberg, but even Spielberg right now, like Bridge of Spies, solid movie, not killing it at the box office, despite it has arguably the greatest filmmaker of all time doing it. It's not really the director's name that pulls in a lot of the general movie-going audience. I don't know. Christian, when you look at a situation like this, could Serenity have benefited waiting? Would there have been more drawbacks? How do you see all that?
I do think it would have benefited, actually, but I actually think it's a catch-22, and I think that the first part of it is you also remember that even though Serenity might not have done well and Firefly might not have done well, it was very respected among the industry.
People who saw it,
and that traveled. I mean, I worked at Silver Pictures for a long time. People raved about that show and when that movie came out, people raved about the movie, and he got meetings from it. He got more clout from it in the industry because that helped get him Avengers.
Was Joel one of the guys behind Serenity?
No.
Oh, you're talking about Joss.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Joss. Okay. Because when I worked for Joel, like Joss worked. There was projects they were working on together.
Oh, I know.
There were a couple. There were a couple, and then he came in for meetings. But he got a lot of meetings because of his work.
One of them was a superheroine with the initials WW.
One of them. But anyway, like he got those meetings because of his work and because people did respect it. So the one thing is, if you take all that stuff away, then you don't know if he's ever going to get the Avengers because that helped him get the job. But if the director of the Avengers, not only because I don't disagree with you that a lot of people don't necessarily know the name of the director, but the studios and everyone else do. So if you produce the Avengers and then you do Serenity, you get more money for that project. Because the difference with Much Ado About Nothing is that he shot it for like $2 million in his house, and he just did it for himself. As where Serenity, if he had just done the Avengers, you get all this money that he could do that he couldn't put into it the first time. You get this big budget, and then from the director of the Avengers, that does help.
Excellent point.
And you put the director of the Avengers, you put the budget, you put all this stuff behind it. It might have had a much different result, especially now, especially if we're talking about today, when Star Trek is doing really well. Star Wars is right around the corner. It's a good time
That's another element to this equation. Great point.
It's a good time for sci-fi fantasy. So I think that I actually do think it would have benefited very much to release it now. Now, that's not to say that a new sequel would do well. I think it's just past its prime at this point.
Schnepp, which would be the greater influence here? The benefit of having a Serenity to come out now after Joss Whedon had become a bigger name, or the negative of waiting that long to bring a one-season TV show to the movies? Which was that positive force, or would that negative force be greater, do you think?
I think the way it happened is the the way it should have happened. Like, I don't think if Joss didn't make Serenity the movie at that time, you're right. He would have done something else, maybe another television series, which would have taken him out of the running to make the Avengers. So, I mean, when you start imagining like multiple universes, like this is the Joss that didn't make that. So I don't think he would have returned to Serenity as a film. I think what I'm actually still hoping happens is that now that he does have this clout from doing Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, that he can do a new Firefly television series.
Like
on
Netflix
one of
or
the,
something.
on a streaming channel, and be able to do the thing that he does best as a series writer, is do a bulk episode kind of like story arc. I mean, I thought Serenity was great, especially if you loved Firefly. It was really cool. It was cool to see a bigger budget and a continuation of these characters that were shafted. They only got like 10 or 15, or how many episodes do you remember?
I think 10 or 11.
I thought it was 8.
You know what the funny thing is? A true story. I was late to the Firefly party. I saw Serenity first.
Oh, wow.
Loved it and went, there was a TV show on this? And I went back and watched a show after that and loved that as well.
But see, that's a bonus round. Like, I love when that happens. That happens a few times with me, too. I remember, like, Space Above and Beyond. What's that? Oh, my God. If you've never seen that series, it's a great series. It's like Starship Troopers and Dark Skies combined. It's a really fun thing. It only lasted one season, but those are the kind of fun seasons that I like. I don't need something to go like 11 seasons or 5 seasons. Right. Even sometimes one season is enough where you get the fun out of it. Firefly was one season. I wish it went more, but look, if Joss wants to do more Firefly, tell me he can't right now. Tell me that there's no studio that would be like, we'll give you $20 million. It's his decision. It's up to someone will give him that money if he wants to do it.
How do you think? Okay, let's say for argument's sake, let's say much like the return of Arrested Development, let's say it's now years later. Netflix say puts up $25 million to say, Joss, we want you, because you could probably get everybody back. Yeah. Notwithstanding, hey Wendy, what's that show you love? Castle. Notwithstanding the success that he's having on Castle. You know what the funny thing is? Nathan Fillion is having infinite, when it's all said and done, he will have had 3,000 times more success with Castle, but everybody will just think of him on Firefly. But so let's put up the question. Netflix says, we'll put up $25 million to do another season of Serenity / Firefly. Do you think today that could be successful?
Yeah, definitely.
It would be explosively successful, especially because of streaming. You have all the brown coats, all these fans who go to all these conventions and have their own chat rooms, their own meetings, their own Facebook pages. It would be a far bigger success than I think what people are thinking it would be.
I think it'd be much better to do it on a streaming system than to try to do another 2-hour movie.
I would not do a movie.
Yeah, because I think I think $20 million, even if a studio, I think it'd be hard to get a studio to greenlight a movie. Much easier for them to do a series.
But you gotta figure out a way to bring Wash back. I don't care what you got to do. If you're going to do another season, you got to figure out a way to bring Wash back.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.